to spoon. You want to know what is happening. Politicians want to make their decision just to spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Funjama, Maryland to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat kepa, graduate, my brother to spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon radio, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You want to get a news update, to spoon. What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. What I want? Yes, what you got today? Spoon TV. Yes, what you got today? Spoon TV. Spoon TV. Skibidi dabado. Spoon TV. Spoon Entertainment. Kua. Bese kua, go to there. Kua, go to there. On the spoon. Yes, what you information. On the spoon.
Yes, I. A special one from the CEO, Stan coming with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the Southern Band. Charges on the beat.
On the spoon to get your information. To the spoon to be part of my discussion. Spoon television. Spoon radio station. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon you and know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening, Moravia, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Funjama, Maryland, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat kepa, graduate, my brother, to spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon radio, to spoon.
Okay, folks, it's another wonderful day. A great way to welcome you to the program Spoon Talk right here, Liberia's most authentic media platform. And the program is live on Spoon 107.5 FM, Fabric 101.1 FM. It's live on Super 95.5 FM. We're coming to you live on the Super TV channel 10, on Facebook, Spoon TV Live, Fabric TV Live, on YouTube, Spoon Talk Live. I'd like to say welcome to the program, just wherever you are tonight. My name is Nelson Colette. Tonight's edition promises to be a fiery one, but I got Dr. Richardson is already here, and James is also in the back end. Let me say good evening to you both. I think it should be good afternoon to you, Dr. Richardson. And maybe good evening to James.
Yeah, hello, how you doing?
Yeah,
good evening, Dr. Richardson. How are you?
I'm doing well. Today was a good day for me. I'm awake. I'm thankful. My hands are moving. My head in the right place. My toes are moving. So can't ask for any more. Children are fine. Husband is loving as always. So
That's good.
what a life, right?
Yeah, what a beautiful
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. Yeah. How you doing?
Call money as usual.
Yeah, that's good. That's very good.
God Money Us chairman, the chairman of the God Money Us Association.
Yeah, that champion. That ain't me. I like that name better than the other name you be trying to put up there. So
Uh,
yeah, so it's really good on this end. Here is the beginning of the month. Over here, everybody making sure that the bills are paid no matter who you are. You can be the richest person in the world. But we have a system. So in the beginning of the month, we tend to pay all our card note, our mortgage, everything, electricity bill, water bill, sewer bill, all the bills that you can think
all
about.
the bills.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we usually get that taken care of in the beginning of the month. And then most people get paid weekly or bi-weekly here, not once a month. Like you guys, I think it's once a month in Liberia. It's been once a month since my,
Yeah.
my father was when my father worked in Liberia. So so usually then your next paycheck you use it for other things. But so most people are, they're pretty clearing their accounts right now. But I want to just welcome everyone. I know that we have Mr. Freeman in studio today, and we also have the guys from the petroleum company, right? Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Connect.
connect.
Oh, okay, connect. Okay, great, thank you. So we're gonna invite
Connect.
them over. They're gonna come and share, their contributions that they are making to
Yeah,
Liberia. Huh?
no, no, no. Now you Nelson setting up Freeman. I'm telling him yes.
Okay, yes, they're gonna
Yeah.
come and share their contributions that they're making to Liberia. Mr. Freeman, I will have a conversation. He's always telling us about his contribution that he's making to the changes in Liberia, his political party. And I'm going to try to push him a little bit today to tell us more about his party. So we should have a good conversation. And then, of course, we'll have the other panelists joining us. They all will be coming in. CEO Summerlin, uh, Peabody. So today is Saturday night. People got to go do that. It's Molly running around. So I just happen to be. I'm a homebody. I tend to like to be home. I got everything that come from my home. So usually I'm available and I like time. All right. So let's just see who's here. James, who go who? Oh, welcome to the show today. Who here for us? Yeah. Anybody to roll?
So far, it is the both of us.
Mm-hmm,
Nelson is getting Mr. Freeman ready,
mm-hmm.
and after that, you will begin the conversation.
Yeah.
But how was
Mm-hmm. I
social
mean,
media? How was social media interaction after yesterday's presentation?
oh,
Or
nice.
the presentation I extended to today. How was it?
I said that other show, our marathon show. That show couldn't finish. It was that show that was just Spanish story. That was Spanish story can't finish. It just kept on
That's
going.
what-
I was tired.
you know that this morning I already got later this morning I already enjoyed our show. The portion I caught when the revelation was coming up.
Yeah.
I saw you. You were like, I'm like, she's getting prepared for the cheese.
I tell you, I said the show was too much. I was like, you can enjoy the show. You go back. I did this morning when I woke up early. I went back and
Mhm.
listened to it again because sometimes the stuff, when you're on the show, you can really see things. You got to go back
No,
and
you can see. Mhm.
yeah, so I went back, I played it, I listened to it, I said, Jesus, I talking to that guy in my class, right?
Yeah.
Jesus.
And Mariah was like, oh, I'm like,
Mhm.
what? ANC people all into the GZ because of Waka.
No, that that's just how it happened. But you yourself, you are posting. Why you want me to share? I said, he put the filter cube in it. He put the everything. He make it take. I said, he very next time he put the post. Why you want me to share? You tell me which part of the show enjoy. I said the one part he just trying to make it take here. I tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I swear, me and my husband have been talking about the show. Sometimes there are some show that you and people will just be talking about it to say this part, you should have done this part, you should have done that. But that show was it was eye-opening. There was some revelation that was revealed.
Even the CEO could not imagine what was happening.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's that show is a show. Hopefully, it's people like you will keep the clip because it will come back.
We have it.
Yeah, it will come back. It's a very important show in the history of Liberia in terms of personality, in terms of who want to be our leader and how you gotta be careful. We all gotta be careful of different things. That all I can say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who you send message to, the content of the message, conversations you have with people. You really gotta be mindful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told my husband the day he mess around, just plack out all the message, then he be sending me. He started laughing. He said, "I want you got it show yesterday." I said, "Oh, okay." I'll just put it aside. I said, "Just keep." Usually he texts me more than 2 or 3 times a day at work. We text each other back. So, but I said, "I'll keep you all your messages." So anyway, we just want to welcome all of you. We're just having fun here, laughing and reminiscing about the show yesterday. You can talk about your favorite aspect of the show, the part that you enjoy, the part that was sweet for you. You can put that in the comment section today. And since some of you are already talking about it, but
me the part I enjoy. Let me talk my own.
Yeah,
the part I enjoy the part because I said Mariah. The reason why you supporting Cummins because you're getting thousands of dollars.
And that's true. I know that's true. But they were smart. They brought Costa to help them.
They were smart, yeah.
Because the only reason why somebody who ever called Costa to come to the show, they say your SG is drowning, so please come and rescue him. And so it's not true. That what he said is that true. I think
I enjoyed that part. And it got to Mariah when Costa said, I think Mariah was like, oh.
Mariah said very well. But Mariah said to him, he don't collect money. He's a mercenary. So but then they did it really good. Okay. So yeah, that was too much. But continue discussing the show. That show was powerful. That was a marathon show. So we ask you guys to continue talking about it in the comment section. Today we're gonna have again another spirited show. That so me and CEO were talking earlier. He said, we need another hot show today. I said, CEO, I ain't got the energy for a hot show today. Let's just relax because Wednesday, Wednesday we're going to have Samuel 12 on.
Wednesday by the fire.
Yes. So Wednesday, let's just get ready. So I want to reserve some of my energy right now. And 12 better come straight because I'm just going to just compartmentalize all my little small research that I got. So he might come straight with evidence, no plenty talking to just that we in some kind of lecture room or something like that. He might come straight with the facts that all our brain people want to know.
The man pass. What the father again you want? He pass. He get his scorecard.
Let me tell you something, James. You in that school there, but passing. I'm happy Liberians pass because a pass is a pass for Liberia. Yeah. The money that we receive is not coming to me alone. It's not going to the government. It is my hope that it goes to Liberians. Okay, it doesn't end up in anybody's pocket. But you remember when they were talking, I wasn't on the show that day, so I was listening. I came back while listening when Eugene Namle were talking. Mm-hmm. He said we had to come back to the government of America. We had to bring another delegation consisting of the gender to correct themselves. Okay, he said they had to come back to change whatever scientific data they have. Mm-hmm. So the thing about it is you have to change scientific data. Okay. You think it was
Mr. Freeman is in the back. When you're ready, we can bring him on.
Yes. So that's the beauty of America. When my students they're doing their dissertation, they're doing their research, whatever, you don't bring a scientific data at first, and I question you about it. You can bring it back and tell me where you got your scientific data from. the issue is make sure that your data is correct. That if I go back and check your data, it is not inflated. It is the accurate representation. I want you guys to know one thing too. I did my
Mm.
homework. When you go to the scorecard, and on the scorecard, they tell you where they got the data from. They will say UNESCO. They will say heritage. Go click those organizations and watch watch who they are and what kind of how they collected data about Liberia. Then we'll learn more. We'll
Don't
talk.
put Kevin in it too low. I beg you.
But yeah, you do research that. But let me Mr. Taylor and Kev, Honorable Kev, welcome to the show. Kev talking. I think you get a message from Liberia, so I'll let him.
Yeah, I think he's on the phone with the president.
Yeah, okay. Well, let him be
Yeah.
celebrating.
He's on the phone with the president.
Kev, welcome. How you doing?
No,
You outside today?
I on the phone with a friend of mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're trying to see if we can go eat tomorrow evening.
Hey man, I'm missing you.
Yeah.
I should bring Mr. Freeman on.
Yeah, bring Mr. Freeman on. Kev, can I bring Mr. Freeman on?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Mr. Freeman, you know stranger here to us, so I'm not gonna welcome you. Mr. Freeman, okay, you muted.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't know who's muted me because
Yeah, he's okay now. No, you okay?
You
Yeah,
good
you okay?
now?
Okay. No,
You.
you mute.
Yeah, you okay? We hear you.
All right. So I came from Kakata, so I had to stop in your studio. I couldn't go to office. Oh, it's good. There was just a small mishap there today. There was a small fire, but we sponsoring a league of the 42 communities in Kakata, so we went to attend the opening program.
You sponsoring you said a meeting or a league? A football league.
Football league, 42 communities in Kakata.
Okay, wow. So that's been sponsored by the Movement for Progressive Change. Is that
by myself, not by the
just
NPC.
use? It's been sponsored by Simeon Freeman.
Yes, please.
That's very nice. That's so. So what do you hope to get out of the league?
Well, that's the idea of the young people. We met with them. When we met with the 42 communities in Magibi. They wanted a league, so we're putting up $80,000 $80,000 Liberian dollars for the winner. The second place will get 60,000 Liberian dollars. The third place gets 40. The fourth place gets 25. So they say that had never happened before. We have other programs coming up with the young people that has to do with macro credit and all kinds of things. So we're doing that in a few counties.
Beautiful. Does that league include kickball? Just soccer?
So the first phase is just soccer. That was what they say they wanted. And the second phase, that's why I said we're doing it in phases. The second phase, the women to do kickball. Yeah. So they didn't want, because the sports pitch is being used by the Magibi County team, so they had to use another pitch. So they said because the main sports pitch is not available, the second pitch will not be able to entertain the both games. So as a matter of fact, because it's 42 communities, it's elimination. Today I was there, one of the communities was eliminated. Yeah, so if you don't play too well, you lose out. It's unfortunate. But we're working some other arrangements. So the game is not just to do for Kakata. We're doing one in Habel and one in the other community. So we have the winners from Kakata, winners from Habel, winners from the other areas will all come together and play. And then we have the overall community winner for Magi. So that's what we're working on.
That's congratulations. Thank you so much for your service to supporting the young people in Liberia, in Kakata, Habel. I look forward to you adding women kickball to the league.
We will, and I hope to get you a ticket to come so you can superintend one of the games.
Absolutely,
if you're available.
Absolutely,
Maybe you can come to your best friend.
Yes, we definitely can work on that. I think that sometimes the women might not just pop up just because it's our nature, sometimes the Waiting Society, we not, we usually don't show up, but I'm sure you're working on it. I believe that you do that.
Oh, no, the women are excited. Look, the games were so packed today, but then there was this fire opposite the police station that got to a particular place. It was quite intense, but the community came together and silenced the fire. It was quite intense.
Mhm. You know, my first home was Kakata in Liberia. That's why I came from ELW Hospital. So Kakata carries a special place in my heart.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Where in Kakata you used to stay?
Germany.
Okay, that's very nice. That's very nice. Well, Kakata
Yes.
hasn't really changed much, except that there are more people.
Yes. It used
There
to
are
be
more
a
people.
very small, quiet town.
Right, right, right. I'm sure when you visited, the last time, I'm sure you must have gone to Kakata. Did you?
Yes, I do. I go there most of the time. You know, it's a major corridor when you're going up Bomb
Right,
and
right,
Lima, and
right,
also, yeah. So
right, right. So we want to work with the young people there a lot. We After the game, we're working on different educational support program. We're working on different macro loan, especially for the women, and then we'll have the women games. So it's something we're
mhm.
doing in Magibi, different places. So different people have different needs. In other places, with a sister with market buildings and all kinds. So working behind the scene, we're doing quite a lot.
That's good. That's very good. Kev, Mr. Freeman's in our studio today. You have any questions or comments for him? Oh, I'm sorry. Kev is on the phone. But let's continue our conversation. I like the part that you added about micro loan. I think
Right.
when you have the combination of something fun, something active for men and women to do, but when you sort of include micro loan education piece, I think that's a wonderful combination. So tell us a little bit about your vision about the market loan from your business perspective, from the way that you see moving Liberia forward, which is usually what you speak to us here about.
I'll tell you what, if you know anything about credit in Liberia, credit, access to credit and cost of credit, very, very expensive. So if you say you want 100,000 Liberian dollars or you want 50,000 Liberian dollars, you'd be paying upwards of almost 30-40%. That's massive, you know. So if you want to say a short-term credit, say you want 50,000 Liberian dollars just for a quick turnaround over 90 days, that's going to be your exposure. So it's a recipe for disaster. Today, credit in the Western world is just approaching 4%, and there is so much noise, right? But
Mhm.
imagine people in Liberia, if you are borrowing from the banks, you'll be paying about 12 to 15%, per annum. That's currently now. If you borrow in Liberian dollars, you're gonna be paying anywhere between 30, anywhere between depending on the sources. If you go to these macro credit institutions, the other day on my show, one guy called and say he took loan from one of the banks. It's not proper to call the bank's name because that's unverified, but he's paying 30%. He took Liberian dollars, and the stories are all over the place. So if you went to the individual macro credit, let's say you had a small, let's say you had some pepper up country you wanted to bring to town quickly, and you didn't have money to finance it, it clearly is a serious challenge. The government of Liberia has not been able to invest money in that. And so it really is a serious challenge. And then the people have a difficulty. Imagine you borrow money, 50,000 Liberian dollars, and you wanted to sell in a market. Let's take the reality. You have to leave food at home, you have to eat at the marketplace. So you have two sources of feeding you have to provide. Then you have to transport yourself depending on where you stay. If you stay in an urban area like Monrovia, you live Pinzo, you have to get to Waterside. It challenges your capital, and then your profitability, and the fact that you have to pay. If you just check those things, if you are adding 30% on a 50,000 or on 100,000 loan, that's quite a lot of money, and it's a serious thing for our people. And that's why we are looking at that to create capacity. But we know that that might not really create the capacity that we want to, as compared to if we were president and we were to create a value added chain. And that value added chain basically is where you produce locally, the distribution chain will be controlled by Liberians. And if the distribution chain is controlled by Liberians, it's going to change the dynamics. But the current trend is everything is imported into the country. So that means Liberians go to the foreign or buy the stuff, and then they have to skim off it. So if, let's say you went to sell chicken wing, and the man sell a carton or chicken wing to you for say 20 or 25 bucks, right? You can make say $10 profit off it. You probably have to be locked into $5 profit. And if you can sell all the chicken wing per day and you have to pay cold storage rental fee, it means all of your profit is gone. And then you have transportation. That's why when you go in the market, they have a system where one woman buys the cold bowl in the morning, two of them eat it, or three of them eat it. Then in the afternoon or in the evening, another person buys, and then they all eat, because and you don't eat for belly full at that point in time, because if everybody were to buy individual food, it's a problem. If you went in the market and get the store is really strong. So unless we control the distribution chain, the impact will not be solid as it should.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's why you see in Ghana, you have the Ghanaian economy is controlled by 60% Ghanaians, because they have a solid control over the distribution chain, even though they import a lot. But because of the strong laws they have that the distribution chain must be controlled by them, in our case, the guy is an importer, he's also a retailer. And so that distribution chain is not there for our people. And so the ability to develop some level of organic wealth to start from zero to up is not there. So that's why from time immemorial, all the supermarkets in Liberia, foreign owned, all the big hotels, foreign owned, the big buildings, foreign owned, because we've never created that basis for our people. One person come to power and they just say Liberians wouldn't be spectators. We've been hearing that from Tottenham Town. We've been hearing that from, Barclay Town. Liberians have been the biggest spectators in the economy. As a matter of fact, there is something called the Statement of Understanding. This is as far back as the 1940s, 50s. There was an argument as to whether Liberians should own the economy. And some of the political elites said, look, let's deal with foreigners and let foreigners own this economy. And the thing was political. If Liberians own the economy, they will have a lot of capacity. And when elections come, controlling them will be a problem. So keep them poor. When it's time for election, you give them a little bit of the thing they've always wanted. They will be obedient and they will submit. And if we have that kind of thing, it factors into everything else. Even though we're not talking about education, on my show on Monday, I did something that even brought tears to my eyes. Do you know that the total number of students enrolled in school as of 2018 was 922,000? Into primary is from grade 1 to 6. Do you know, other than 922,000, do you know that only 3% managed to graduate from high school?
Wow.
3%. Wow. It's very scary. Not just that, you have 48% of our people don't make it out of primary school. But these are some of the core issues. I mean, if I don't have money, think about it. Some of us that drop out of school at the time, my mother is a third grade dropout. She didn't have money to send me to school. So how in the world would she be looking for money for me to feed when I used to eat once a day and be looking for money for me to go to school? It's clearly impossible. So the issue of school is not an issue. So you see, sometimes when we get in the street and say, oh, don't put the children onto the street to hawk, you don't understand what you're saying. That guy has to go and sell the biscuits to help feed.
I know.
It's also scary.
Yes, it saddens me. Something has to be done about our whole system. It has to be revamped, and I'm glad someone like you are talking about it, because when I sit here, when you tell me 3% of students that were enrolled in high school of 922,000, 3% of them graduated. That's talking about the future of our country.
Scary. You make it to college, 2%. Sierra Leone has a population of 8.5 million. Sierra Leone has a success rate of 7%. So Liberia has not even succeeded with a UN Millennium Goal for education. We're nowhere near that. And it's not even being talked about. And you may not know, they take the USAID report. 30% of teachers teaching our high school don't even have high school certificate. But you see, these are not talk about. So that's why you see when we come in studio and every politician that want to be president, all he does is a George we are bashing. I'm asking a question. Didn't we bash Torba and kill him in 1979? What happened? Did Liberia develop? We brought in Samuel Doe. We killed him in 1990. He was the problem of the country. Did Liberia develop? We grabbed Charles Taylor. He was the country's problem. We locked him. Liberia's problem are issues. If we're not discussing them and we're not elevating the issues, we're not, because we create opportunity for people that know nothing themselves to come and bash. It's easy to bash. I can come in studio and say, "Oh, but what is Spoon doing?" Nothing. When I don't even know how to run a radio station, it's easy
Yes,
to
sir.
bash.
Yes, sir. Yes, yes,
That
yes.
always a job we are back. We need to move away from. If you want to be, look. If I want to be an anchor on CNN or on BBC, I'm not going to discuss what a guy is doing. I'm going to come with creative ways in which I can be a better presenter. But in Liberia, you want to be president, get on to George we are bashing. Then you're the next president of Liberia. Then, okay, this man is strong. The man, and that's why I'm not playing that card, because I'm serious about the development of Liberia. These issues are scary. When you have 3%, you remember when Madam Sirleaf was president and the University of Liberia just changed its admission requirement and said this
I remember.
is solid test and you must earn your admission. 25,000, everybody that failed.
Yes, I remember that. Yes, I remember that. That was scary. Yes.
And then the president had to make some calls and say, "Look, y'all can't do that, y'all can't do that." And then, behind the scene, some of the students passed. One of my friends, when I had to go to LU to teach, I started finding. I said, "How are the student population?" The guy said, "My friend is terrible." He said he's teaching. I wouldn't call it a department. I don't want to expose him, but he said there was a particular lady in the class who had attempted a course for 4 years. 4 years she had attempted the course. Her daughter came out of high school, entered, and got to senior level, and met her. She had attempted this course for 4 or 5 years. So I said, "How did you get rid of her?" He said, "Well, he just reduced and gave her a watered down test in order to get her out of her field, because LU doesn't have a requirement where you have a attempt limitation. Like in America, you can attempt the course, some schools twice, some schools 3 times. After that, you have to have a solid justification. But these are the circumstances we have that are important, but we're not discussing them. The economic transformation, the challenges of our people. People just come and on a George we are bashing. Yeah, like I said to somebody, I'm not going to waste my time with George Weah, because the people of Liberia will make that decision in 2023. I need to give them a better vision. We need to be serious about how to change our country. These are serious. And some of the reasons why you have those, let me just break that down for education. If you look at our educational system, let's take the road to Banda. All of the high schools are built in high population centers. In many of the other rural areas, they build primary schools, but they build primary schools on the road. So imagine most of the villages are about 2 hours away. But here are the realities. If Dr. Richardson has 4 children, if 3 of them are above the age of, say, 2, 3, they have to help you with the farm. Now, these guys have to walk to the road for about 2 hours. So they don't come to school in time, obviously. But if they reach 12, 13 years old, they will get a woman in the village and probably get her impregnated. Now they have to deal with being a father and also coming to school. So the guy is about 3rd grade. He obviously has to prioritize taking care of his wife and kid and making the farm as compared to coming to that school. So you see some of the key challenges that causes drop off from the rural perspective. Now, even if the guy completes 6th grade, the next high school is about 3 hours drive away. Now it's no longer within walking distance. If he knows nobody in that big town, he's not going to make it. That's 1, 2. Now he has local priorities to deal with. So 6th grade for him is it. These are some of the things that's affecting us. Secondly, in the urban areas, if I live in Pinzo, let's say I used to pay, let's say I used to live in Cinco, in a place where my rent was, say, $50 a month. The man comes and increases it to 75. I can't afford it. I move way back in Pinzo, maybe around Duazon area where I can find a $15 room, right? Now,
Mhm.
there is no government school nearby. So the guy can no longer come to the old school. He changes position, he changes everything. The parents have to make a decision between sending the child to school and finding food for the family. For them, survival is more important. So finding food. That's why you see many times in Liberia, the family make a decision to send one child to school. Many times the boy and not the girl. So
Yes.
these are not some of the things we're discussing that will make policy makers sit down during the time of budget passage and say, how do we provide additional funding for these sectors? But we come
Yes.
and make all kinds of bashing. So I think from the opposition, if we're engaging in a solid way to say these are the solid issues, then we have a solid basis to say, as a legislator, when the executive sends the budget to you, make a decision between spending $5 million on executive mansion renovation and spend $5 million on these sectors that add value so that it will help us move forward. But we just go on a bashing, so we're not engaging enough, and then it confuses the people. So you go, the people say, well, we don't know, the people need to come together. So for them, the whole confusion about the opposition is our failure to come together and not the issues, because we're not elevating those issues significantly enough. So we
Yeah.
have our own defects in the way we engage the system. If we're pressuring the system on significant policy issues that's hurting the country, and there are lots of issues. I just started working with some medical doctors. We started talking. I want to start a free surgical operation again. It will surprise you to know. The last time when I worked with them, we went to Grand Gita and tears came down from my eyes. We're providing free, there's this thing called goiter. You notice you see
Yes.
the women
Yes.
is not in their throat.
Yes.
You know what causes that? Salt deficiency.
Yeah. Tyro. Yeah. Yes.
Salt deficiency.
Yes. That's
Do
true.
you know? Do you know we have more people? There was a particular woman I had to beg the doctors. This woman said she walked for 2 hours from some part of Grand Gita just to come. She couldn't
Mhm.
have access to the doctors. Right now in the Monrovia area, do you know how many people walking around, men walking around with hernia?
Yes, I noticed that. You know how there's people urinate all over. That's a sign of prostate issues.
Look,
Something
it's
very
just
simple to fix. Something very easy to fix.
issues are serious. Visit our government hospitals here, nothing to write home about. How many
So,
of
so,
us desirous of being president
so,
take on
Mr.
those?
Mr. Freeman, I'm trying to imagine, and I love what you were saying about under your presidency, you're going to focus on issues that are relevant to Liberia. I'm just trying to picture, what are you going to do under your presidency? How are you going to, first of all, develop these policies and implement the policy? Because that's our struggle. Like I hear you say, I'm picturing like a table of you sitting down with
Right.
experts. But I want you to just carry on that vision that I'm having right now. What does that look like for you? Let's say we're taking education.
I mean,
Focus on
I tell you this. I told somebody the other day. They say, "Oh, it's an issue of implementation." I said, "No, it's not an issue of implementation. The first thing in everything is when people win the presidency in Liberia, what they look for is how do I reward my loyalists with public offices. Once your focus as president is how do I reward my loyalists who were strong in advocacy for me to be president, your delivery is off mark. There are lots of Liberians in Liberia that have capacity for delivery. But that's not what the presidency is looking for. It's looking for loyalists. Even in America, if you took the expertise of Liberians in America that can deliver results, it's very solid. The problem is people are looking for who supported me in America versus who didn't. Me, Simeon Freeman, as president, whoever party you voted for, I will have to come to your house, I will. because I'm serious about transformation. If you look at places like Singapore, the guy was serious. He went to people that were in opposition and said, look,
Yeah.
I am serious about business. And look, call Kevin Demi. I was on Prime. I won't call this guy name. He comes from one of the political parties. He had bashed me when I was in studio, but he had a wounded leg. And after the studio, I said to Kevin, this guy I'm told has a wounded leg. We have to go and visit him. The guy was shocked. The same day, we went to his house. He lived somewhere in Painesville. I won't call his name. We visited him. He was shocked. And I told him, I said, bossman, we are connected by our passports. I said, we arrived in Sierra Leone. They will say, this man is Liberian. This man is Liberian. They won't say this man comes from this party or this tribe or whatever. The fact that we are Liberians, that connects us. What you had to say about me, it was politicking. Do I really care about that? I don't. I take that same mindset to employment. In fact, I'm not even part of employment because I don't want to know who voted. No colleague that work for me will say, oh, Simeon Freeman came and said he discussed politics. I'm not interested. If you work for me, we have a professional job to do. We're not doing politics. If you have that kind of mindset, that professional mindset, you will be able to assemble the team that you need to run the deal. The second thing is, as the leader of the pack, you need to have an understanding of the challenges of the environment. You can't be depending on experts. Do you have the ability to research? It starts with now. If you don't even understand the issues, simple economic issues that are troubling our people, health issues, educational issues. So you come into the table, you're depending on educational experts. It's not going to work. It takes almost 90 days for educational experts to even agree among themselves in terms of what approach needs to be adapted. So if you already have basic working knowledge, it means two things will happen at our conference table. They will be buying into your concept and expanding on it, or you will be buying into the concept and injecting some of yours into it so you have a functional idea to hit the ground running. For me, if you look at education, there are two issues. It's both economical and it's about structure. The way I want to deal with education is to use the current approach. For example, let me give you an example. We're still struggling with ghost name on teacher's payroll. We're still struggling with that in 2022 when there is mobile money. When there's digital, you can digitize registration, where in Kenya, for example, you have digital registration. These things can happen on a simple national ID card. We can digitize that whole ID card where it can be chip-based, almost like a credit card, and it means that no teacher gets paid outside of that system, and he doesn't have to come to the office. We can push his salary through Momo while we still have it. The second thing is, why are we still running a government school system where let me tell you how the government school system is now. You have the minister, then in the counties, you have the county education officer. Then in each district, you have the district education officer. So one little piece of computer that is intended for a school could get missing. One little duster that is intended for somewhere could get missing. Chairs intended for school could get missing. I want to break down that approach. And the way I want to do it, I want to set up 15 school systems. Bombing County Educational System, Grand Bassa County Educational System. How are we going to do it? Grand Bassa County Educational System will have a Ministry of Education that will be very small in size. They will only regulate almost like the LTA, and their only job is to set standards. And the standard will be, we want computer for each number of students. We want these number of students per school. How are we going to pay for each student tuition? The government of Liberia will pay by giving lump sum money in trenches to these different educational institutions. They will subscribe to the standard. If Grand Bassa County runs her educational structure better, she can buy over Bombing County because it's going to be a private sector arrangement, but the government pay tuition for students. So we set the standards, and these guys will be held accountable and responsible to enforce the structure. It's a pure private public sector arrangement where government still pay the tuition, but the system of running the schools are different. A country like Rwanda can bring their system up to the educational system up to a computerized infrastructure. Why can't we do that? Rwanda just fought war in the 90s. We don't have any excuse. A Rwanda can have a clean street. When you talk to Paul Kagame, he said, as the president, he was driving in his convoy. The guy spoke at a conference. I was there. I stood up and I clapped for him. He said he just got down from the car and started picking up dirt. The people saw the president picking up dirt. and everybody made it a culture. Let's take for Liberia. Mary Broad is long gone. She came up with a Saturday, Mary Broad Day, clean your house. The first Saturday in every month. There is no legislation in Liberia, but people still celebrate Mary Broad Day. Stores don't open on the 10 o'clock. Nobody's enforcing it. So it's proving here that our people can be encouraged and our people can be made to comply with the right approaches. But we're not embracing those things. All we're doing is we're just sitting down, blaming everybody else. Nobody is trying to be a role model for anything. And with that kind of approach, it's not going to help. But, cutting a long matter, Sean, I believe the skill set to transform Liberia are available within the Liberian community, whether here or abroad. A president just needs to look beyond his loyalists. There are many ways in which I can reward my loyalists without necessarily making them ministers, deputy directors, and all these things. Because once you start rewarding loyalists, they figure where is an opportunity to help themselves. That's how come one loyalist that was sleeping in one room gets millions of dollars in no time and gets rich because he or she is being rewarded. But if he's rewarded differently, then that means the people that voted for you can also be rewarded and they don't have to be so poor. I think we just need to change that approach.
Yes, I'm going to give Kev Hassan the opportunity to just ask you a few questions and engage you at this moment. Kev?
Mr. Freeman, how are you, sir?
Now, Bosman, how are you today?
Train going by
That's what
you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm outside. I'm not too far from the train.
Okay, it's
Oh,
good now.
The
It's
railway
good now.
across,
right,
but I
right,
think that
right.
they're going on. Some of the things that you saying, that you said, not even today, previous appearance that I agree with. Some of the things I don't. Uh, when folks are referencing Paul Kigami, uh, there's sometimes a carry false narrative because Paul Kigami been there for what, early 90s, 92 or so, and it seemed like a one party rule uh, in this country. So um, when 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 we when we talk about the romantic side of those things, we should also explain the other side of it because a lot of people referencing Paul Kigami. Sometimes I just listen to Liberians on Facebook, Paul Kigami. But Paul Kigami used a heavy stick, iron hand, to rule our country. That will not fly in Liberia. By example, he said there's no Hutus and Tutsi. If you come out as Hutus or Tutsi, there's a serious consequence on you. That will not fly in Liberia. He's a military man. He ruled by decree. And we all know how strong Paul Kagame. So when we reference Paul Kagame and talk about the romantic side, our people are not getting the full story. They think that opposition in Rwanda, they come in, they do this, they do that. No, Paul Kagame is a very very strong military guy that ruled Rwanda would decree. So, Mr. Freeman, that would not fly in Liberia. Opposition will be screaming bloody murder in Portugami style. Again, people will reference Jerry Rawlings. Jerry Rawlings ruled Ghana with an iron hand. And we know that would not fly in Liberia. It will not happen. So even though we're talking about the good side of Rwanda, and the good side of Rollins, we have to educate our people, decide how those people become something that people will reference. So otherwise, we'll give them false information. But one of the side I agree with you. We said the last time that I believe that the opposition, black and and Liberians will realize that not only that, what you said, I think Black Africa, if we realize that, will be better. You said corruption is not the most problem in our country. A lot of people will not agree with you, and maybe if I stand to be correct, I think you said that previously. And one thing where you said that, I totally agree with you. People think that our problem is corruption. Our problem, we have to have an avenue for revenue. We need more revenue. We need more things. But people think, oh, the government corrupt. And not only in Liberia, in Black Africa, oh, you corrupt, oh, you corrupt, oh, you corrupt. And if you look at corruption, it's minute to our problem. Our problem is how to fix and how we can get uh, uh, investors and come in our country, because people will look at it. You come every day, you yelling corruption, corruption. You scary out investors. You scary out people. Other government come there tomorrow. Mr. Freeman government come there tomorrow and will start yelling corruption, corruption. Will scary people. Corruption is not the most problem in Africa, Black Africa. Forget about Liberia, because every country is singing this thing. It's what they plant in our head. They plant that in our head for us to feel that corruption is the problem in Africa. No, no, Black Africa, no. So, but we have to find a way to get revenue. You know, our agency, our government agency should function, should perform, should perform. So if I get you right, and I want you to go deep into that. I want you to educate our people that if corruption is the most problem in Black Africa, or corruption is minute to our problem in Africa, I want you to speak on that.
Thank you, sir. Before I come to that, have you read about Tanzania?
I got a clue about Tanzania,
So,
and
so the issue and the reason why I asked you that is because I just want to set the perspective. You talked about Paul Kagame being able to mandate and instruct that there is no more Tutsi and Hutu, but then in Tanzania, even from the days of the first president Nyerere Julius, they are Tanzanians and they are not tribals, and that was his way of building a more cohesive and united Tanzania. And today,
but that's
one
my
of the
point
best
exactly.
performing.
That's my point
Oh,
exactly.
wait a minute. I'm trying to set a perspective so we can go so you can see one of the, without being a dictator, one of the best performing economies in
No,
Africa
no,
is
I
still
was not
Tanzania.
saying no, no. I was not saying it's a negative thing. I will not say it's
Right.
a negative thing. What I'm saying, it
Right.
can fly in Liberia. We're not flying Liberia. I'm not saying it's a negative
Well,
thing.
no, no. I'm coming to create. You see, I like to create all of the perspectives.
Mhm.
That's why when you bring up issues with me, I like for us to elevate it. So it is currently flying in Liberia. Dr. Chinowit will bear me witness. The president of Liberia has a lot of say in who becomes Speaker of the House, in who becomes President pro tempore. Because these things are voting, there are lots of lobbying behind the scenes and influences that today the speaker comes from the southeast, where the president comes from. The deputy speaker comes from the southeast, where the president comes from. The president pro tempore comes from the southeast. And it is so glaring that even in political activities and events where members of the House and Senate should be off gear, you see them part of it. And it's such that the speaker is from the ruling coalition, the deputy speaker from the ruling coalition, the president pro tempore. So tell me if that is not more than a military infrastructure where you have the mandate. The president controls the government. The president, in many respects, influences outcome at the legislature in every way. In every respect, the budget flies easily. That is more like a military infrastructure, and not just happening on a Georgia. It happened on a whether it was Charles Taylor, whether it was Torbo, whether it was Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. These things happen. Maybe the only person that didn't have that leverage was Judy Brown because he was an interim government. But in every respect, on a soil as an interim president, he also has such a leverage. So I'm just saying that Paul Kagame used his leverage for the good of Rwanda. And you have to now discuss the outcome rather than the median. But if you want to look at the median, then we can ask, what have our people used their medians for? What have been our outcome? Our outcome has not been to address all of these issues. So if one guy has been able to use his outcome for good, even if a president of Liberia does not have control over the legislature in terms of the House and the Senate, who sends the budget to the legislature? It's the president. The budget is the president's budget. So, when people like me come to the table, I'm very deep knowledge in government. That's why you see the budget, the Bureau of the Budget, which is now under the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, is under the wing of the president. So let me break it down further. The LRA collects the revenue and presents the revenue figure to the Minister of Finance. The Minister of Finance works, the deputy minister for the budget is the director of the budget. He prepares the budget. The Minister of Finance signs on it in agreement with the president in terms of the presidential priorities and takes it to the legislature and say, Mr. Legislature, this is how we want to spend the 500 million or the 600 million and the money that we've also borrowed. This is how we want to spend it this year. Then they pass on it. So whatever outcome is realized is the outcome of the executive. So that is dictatorial power.
Mr. Freeman, I want to stop you there. I want to stop you there. You talk about you name all those lawmakers who are from they are southeasterner, and what you presenting to the people, like they are appointed, but you should let the people know that they were elected, and that part of that branch of government don't have anything to do with the executive branch of government. And when you present it like that to the people, then people start thinking, is this nepotism? Is this? That's what we do in Black Africa. We feed the people with that kind of mentality instead of telling them that the executive branch is different for that branch of government because they are elected. They are elected. So you cannot tell the people of that region don't elect their own people. All politics are local. You elect your own people. So if you're telling me that the president decide to go among the lawmaker and tell them, hey, I'm putting my own people there. You do what you got to do. But I'm telling you, in America here,
but
everything Joe Biden said. No, let me say this to you. Everything Joe Biden said.
You can go ahead. I want to remind you.
No, I want to. Let me just say this last thing. Everything Joe Biden said.
Right.
Speaker Nancy Pelosi championed and pushed Joe Biden agenda, and that's a fact. And you know that. Everything that Joe Biden said, Nancy Pelosi push it. Right now, we're having a midterm election Tuesday.
That's the point you just made.
Why we having the midterm election? Why this midterm election is important? Let's talk to the Liberian people.
Right.
Because if the Democrats win, Joe Biden agenda will pass smoothly. If the Republican win, Joe Biden agenda will be stopped. Now everything Joe Biden will send, they will do it. That's what happened in America, and you know that.
Okay,
so when we try to make our people believe that a politics in that kind of manner is bad, then we're giving them the half story and we're misleading them. Because Nancy Pelosi championed the Affordable Care Act. and you know that. The agenda of
So,
Iraq, Nancy
so,
Pelosi did that. The
so,
agenda
Mr.
of
Hassan.
Biden, Nancy Pelosi did that. So you
So,
cannot
Mr.
come
Hassan.
up and say the
Kev,
agenda.
let give Mr. Freeman a chance
Let
to.
him come in there.
So,
Yeah.
Mr. Hassan. Mr. Hassan, I'm confused about your argument because you're agreeing with me. You're saying, and let's use the American example before we come back home to Liberia. Nancy Pelosi, as Speaker of the House, champions Joe Biden's agenda. And it means that whatever Joe Biden wants, he gets. It means that he has the leverage if he wants to be a good president of
And it's
America.
not a bad thing.
Wait a minute. Let me just try. I think Dr. Richardson remembers, and even the gentleman here, Mr. Nelson Cole, right? You also remember the Speaker of the House saying, President, we are promising that he will be Speaker if he became president. And President, we are enable him to be Speaker. So what I'm saying is the president of Liberia, when you are president, can influence outcome. And it's not just this president. When Torba was president, he influenced that outcome. The Speaker of the House was somebody he preferenced. All right. It was at the time Richard Henrys. Then you have Honor Madam Sirleaf. She influenced the outcome. You heard former Speaker Snow saying the president removed him. It's not me saying those things. So it means that behind the power of the executive is so strong that the power to lobby is so strong that it can influence outcome, and that outcome can be used for good. So let me tie it back into the Paul Kagame story that you were talking about. If Nancy Pelosi executes the preferences of President Joe Biden, it clearly means that this president, all of his outcome in terms of good development can be structured. So if you're saying to us that Nancy Pelosi carry out Joe Biden's wishes, I'm not against that. I'm saying Paul Kagame did not develop Rwanda because he's a dictator, which was your first argument. He developed Rwanda because he had good intention for his people. And I'm saying a person that is president of Liberia with very good intention, under the circumstance where you don't have a dictator. Your first argument was that dictatorship in Liberia will not fly. And I'm saying you already have a dictatorship because the speaker, the deputy speaker, the pro tem are friends, partisans of the president. And so if we wanted to get the outcome on education, we could get it. If we wanted to spend a lot more money on fire service, I don't know when was the last time you look at the budget. The National Fire Service get $1.2 million. The office of the vice president gets $3 million. The office of the vice president operational expense is $1 million. But fire service that services the whole of Monrovia, not even Liberia, gets $1 million. DEA gets $416,000 for the whole year, but it's supposed to fight drugs across the whole country. The president, the deputy speaker office operational fund is $1 million. The speaker's office operational fund is $1 million. I'm saying if a person is desirous of transforming this country, the outcome will show. As president, I wouldn't be spending millions of dollars to renovate a mansion when my people are in abject poverty. I'm saying somebody can still have a Paul Kagame effect in Liberia if you want to. So if your argument is he was able to get these outcomes because he's a dictator, I'm challenging that and saying it is his good intention for his country that is now manifest. Now, on the issue of duration,
Let me just stop you right there. I want to agree. I want to agree with you. I want to agree with you on that Paul Kagame aspect. You are quite correct because of his good intention.
Right.
I'm just saying how the Liberian people will see it. I'm not questioning Paul Kagame. I totally agree with the way Paul Kagame going. I'm a fan of Paul Kagame. You are quite correct, sir. I agree with you on that.
Right.
So we on our point.
Right. Okay. So then we'll move forward. Go ahead, Dr. Richardson.
I wanted to add, and I think something that you kind of saying implicitly is that when officers or public officers are elected, they're elected in other parts of the world based on a merit. Nancy Pelosi is no small woman. She has done a lot. She comes from a political family. She's been in, the House of Representatives for a long time. She's fought against Donald Trump. So she is known, it's not like somebody who just came yesterday and they say, oh, I became Speaker of the House. She's known. She's been in politics for a long time. And so I think that makes a difference in terms of, somebody just saying, oh, I'm the president and I'm going to make you the speaker, or I'm going to reward you with loyalty, which is the word that you've been using here for us, reward you with loyalty because you supported me.
Mr. Freeman, I'm sorry, sir. People in Liberia tend to kind of change it. When you're speaker,
Right.
and you're from that party, you champion the agenda. That's a fact.
Right.
And the Republicans, let's say this: the Republicans disagree with the Affordable Care Act, which is the Obamacare. They disagree.
Right.
They went to the Supreme Court. They fought it. They fought that in the Supreme Court. So we cannot come and say that, oh, you don't put this, you don't put it. Everything that the Democrats stand for and Nancy Pelosi stand for, the Republicans say is bad for America.
Good. So that means, Mr. Hassan, I like what you said. That's brilliant. So that means the speaker, the deputy speaker, the pro tem, the president from the same party, from the same region, meaning that the outcomes that we're currently getting are clearly the outcome they want us to get, and not necessarily that they are limited in any way to accomplish the outcome. The choice to spend X amount of money on certain white elephant projects rather than tackle the core issues. The choice, for example, look, take Liberia. When was the last time, say, the financial authorities will sit down with business people and say, look, business people, we want to know, and at different layers of the business people, right? Let's say have a team meeting with market women and say, what are your core issues? How can we be a better government? How can we solve this? Meet with different layers, people like us, different other layers, and say, how can we help champion policies that help make you more competitive, that put the economy in your hand, instead of us making fixes for them? What are the issues of borrowing? Imagine if borrowing rate were 12% in America. You would not be, Bossman, just the borrowing rate hasn't even hit 4%. People like Mark Zuckerberg losing $100 billion. Amazon cannot fly. The darling boy of the global community, Marx, he cannot fly. They're losing money. The housing market is about to crash. Who cannot afford a house? We're not even talking 5% yet. But in Liberia, it's 12 to 18%. Duration, while you can get a credit in America for 30 years, nobody in Liberia can get a credit for even 5 years. The most you're going to get it for is 36 months. So why are we not elevating these issues? I'm agreeing with you. Nancy Pelosi is gonna lift that policy. The guys in the Senate. So today it's about the heart and soul about who controls the Senate. Why are we not? From Liberia today, the president has power. But let's even forget about this president. The last president has similar power. There's always this political statement of Liberians will not be spectators in their own economy. I'll give you another country. The roads built in that country is built by the locals and not foreigners. In Liberia, all of the roads are built by people that have no experience in road construction. So why can't we use our own people to build those roads so that their trial and error that we are victim of, their pockets can benefit from it so they can be movers and shakers? What's stopping us? Now we control the legislature. The presidency controls that, and not just this presidency, all other presidency. Simeon Freeman becomes president.
When last you used the RIA road? When last you used the RIA road?
And I just came back to the country yesterday, and I used the RIA road. Let me tell you my disappointment with that road.
The construction that going on the RIA road.
You asked me. And I just want to say that one first, not chief. You know, you're my boss, man. Let me just flow with this one. I haven't said that. You know, my disappointment with that road. The total passenger volume from Liberia is less than 100,000 a year. Did you know that? The total air passenger volume out of Liberia less than 100,000. So the RRA role was no priority.
No, in terms of Liberian Liberians who working on that road, the construction that going on that road, people who working on that road are Liberian, because I saw Liberian.
Who owns the company that's fixing? Who owns the company that's fixing the road, sir? Who owns that company?
The company is a company that came in. The East International came in, and then they went through the right. They went through the right procedure, and they hire Liberian contractors. They hire Liberian contractors.
You know what I like for you?
I like the fact that are on that road.
I like the fact that we're having it's good that we're having a very good discussion. If that road is $100 million project, the guys on that road are probably making $250 a month, and it does not translate to that they have the expertise and ownership. What we're talking about is certain kind of partnerships where most of the roads are built by the locals of the country, where, yesterday we used to call it technology espionage. Today we call it technology transfer. Legally, China can transfer the technology to build road to us, and Liberian businesses in multiples, in halves, can be given that road, it can be built. And more besides, a president, I wouldn't have looked at RRA. You know what I would have looked at? I would have looked at a road leading from Broad Street to Douala, to Broadville. Because that road hosts the free port of Monrovia. That road hosts the Liberia Petroleum Refining Company. That road links the whole of Gardnersville, a 4-lane road, to this road. I would have made sure that road is good and functioning. You know what I would have done? I would have built a 4-lane road from Douazon, because that's where the people have moved to in terms of that flow of traffic, and leave that 100,000 people that fly out of Liberia, because the road was good, nothing was wrong with it. So in that way, we are portioning our priorities perfectly well. And that's why you see, I say on our Simeon Freeman presidency, I don't want to spend time discussing this administration. I want to discuss how we can correct it. Today I was driving, when I came from Kakata, we came through Nizo, I got on a road, and Liberia has only one road. If you want to catch somebody, just stay on the boulevard. If you want to catch anybody staying on the boulevard, Mr. Hassan, you will catch them.
There's no other way for them to pass, huh?
Yeah, but
no other road. So the reality is, why haven't we, and studies have been done, I will tell you, as far back as the 70s, to build a road on the coast. You see this from ERW all the way jammed down to Broad Street. You can build a road by the ocean. Studies have been done to create alternative routes. We've never looked at those. We've never discussed it. That's the disappointment with my colleagues in the opposition. When we come to the airways, let's raise and lift policy issues that are so significant that will compel any government, whether it's me or whoever is in power, to say, let's pay heed to that. But we just come on a bashing arrangement, then for me, it doesn't add up. So in long short, Bossman, I would give you another stacks. Sierra Leone is making better progression than Liberia is. So also is Guinea. In this entire sub-region, Liberia is miles behind. And we haven't even gotten on a roll yet. We're still shaking and we're not even moving. We haven't even tackled. We do one project and it becomes a big issue. And in many respects, we miss focusing. We're not dealing with a real issue. That's why we don't have progression. I did something on my show that was shocking, Mr. Hassan. And these things, when I'm looking at them, they're shocking me. I did a study across Africa. I found out that out of the 5 million people in Liberia, do you know Liberia is the only country in Africa that has about 32% of its population living in the capital? The capital city, Monrovia, has 1.6 million people out of 5 million. In Sierra Leone, Freetown, the capital city, has 1.2 out of 8 million. In Ghana, the capital city has 5 million out of 31. In Nigeria, you have in Lagos 15 million out of 233. In Kenya, you have 5 million out of 49. In Liberia, we got 1.6.
Mr. Freeman, can I come in? Let me come in, Mr. Freeman. you're one of the people that I love to come on on the show for us to have
Right.
this kind of debate, because we're not talking about some of the things opposition talking about. I believe that these are some kind of debate we need to be having. Then
Right.
can actually we can actually enlighten our people. Uh, you talk about Liberia, 32% of the population is in Monrovia, and we should know why. And we should also know that the manner of which war in Sierra Leone is different from Liberia. The capital city of Freetown, the war was never, and I repeat, people can challenge and never went to the extent of what happened in Monrovia. We talk about different fashion in Monrovia, different. Monrovia was hit the hardest, and a lot of people left up in the interior, came to Monrovia. Like Freetown now, the war was there, especially the eastern part of Sierra Leone. There was no single war, no rebel, nothing, nowhere destroyed. So you see, the capital city of Freetown is still intact. The capital city of Monrovia is not. So a lot of people come in because because of the war happened, and the war brought people in Monrovia. We need to tell the people the story. One thing I noticed about Liberia, they only tell half story. Liberia will only give you half story. Not now, from the 80s, they will only tell you half story. And the half story make people believe that things are happening somewhere better. For example, Guinea failed the MCC. Liberian will not tell you that Guinea failed the MCC. Liberia will not tell you that Nigeria failed the MCC. They will not tell you. They will not tell you those things. They will tell you on only the bad side of Liberia. So in Sierra Leone, yes, you have the capital city will not be as populated, but it is populated in Sierra Leone. But Liberia will have it much because up in the interior, nothing. For the past years, with everything that was given into that country, nobody tried to decentralize. Nobody tried to get the people back home to the various counties in Liberia. So 4.5 years into this presidency, people expecting more. And why we're not telling people, why people not understanding that this is the first time since post-war that this government, the only government who on her own, when I say on your own, no foreign, no NGOs. And the reason people will ask that question, so why the NGOs not there? Because the mission are over. The mission over. They're gone. There was a mission they have in there. So we need to tell that story. The mission over. So you cannot bring somebody to come on a mission and the mission is over. The mission over. One, let's look at the military. ECOWAS, ECOMOG. The mission over. We have peace now. They're gone, Mr. Freeman. We know they were spending over 500 million in our economy. Over 500 million. You know that, Mr. Freeman. We need to tell those stories. Over 500 million US dollar into our economy. It was stimulating our economy. It's not there. People will say, "Why? But how can we bring ECOMO back?" The mission is over. They can't come. So you see the amount that left our show. These are the story we need to let our people know. So right now, we're starting from an ABC. You know, we all went to ABC. We do our SSO, Go, all those things. We're starting from there now. Because under the past government, even the security of Liberia were not in the hands of the government. The security were not in the hands. A lot of people were employed because of NGOs. Those NGOs are gone because the missions are over.
So, Kev, can we please allow?
And people need to know that.
Kev, I would love for us to engage in this conversation
Mhm.
on Mr. Simeon Freeman's next visit to us.
Okay.
It's a powerful conversation. I also wanted to participate.
But I wanted to ask him on because
Well, we got another guest in the studio, Kev.
another guest in the studio.
Yeah, I just got a call.
Okay, but let
So
me just ask this one
so
question to Mr.
so
Freeman.
let allow ask your question, and then let allow Mr. Freeman to wrap to give
Okay,
his
okay,
closing
I
comment.
agree.
We'll bring other guest. Okay.
Okay,
Thank
I
you.
agree.
Yeah.
Mr. Freeman, um,
Yes, sir.
uh, there is the MCC scorecard out. The good news, Liberia pass. How will this attract foreign investors?
You see, this is the kind of scramble we've been embracing in our country for a while. So now everything that is wrong about Liberia has to be corrected by an MCC scorecard. So the basis for a market woman, or the basis for the woman that I saw the other day in Dole community that cooked rice, and the soup she had on it was oil, palm oil. That was the soup, white oil rice. The woman or the people that are consumed today by the boring crunch, all of that should be now repaired by an MCC scorecard. You see, Mr. Hassan, when we lean on these external evaluation mechanisms as a basis for asserting that we are accomplishing a lot for our people, then it challenges our sincerity as leaders for our people. The truth of the matter is, the true scorecard that we should be looking at is, what's the cost of borrowing in Liberia? How many of our students are making it from primary to high school to college? What's the quality of Liberian education that no Liberian university makes it to Africa ranking of university? No Liberian university does that. We should be looking at the key issue of the cost of living, the inflation that's consuming our people. In my mind, they are a better scorecard. And like I always say to my friends that I know in government, we need to be able to sit down and have a solid conversation. If we have a solid conversation, things that we probably not aware of, we will be. But if anybody suspects that an MCC scorecard takes an investor to a country, as an investor, people start to look at, how many of your young people are employed? I'm also an investor in other countries. How many of your young people can afford certain things? What's the purchasing power of your people? When an investor looks at that and those questions are not answered, then he says, can I do gold mining in your country? And you know why we always attract mining and all those things? Because Mr. Hassan, is easy. I produce, I manufacture it. I mean, I just dig it out here and ship it to anywhere around the world. So you see, in many respects, I think we mustn't be looking at those external scorecards. We should be looking at what's relevant for our people. And I think if we do that, we'll be able to help our people. Above all else, we must put the interests of the people of Liberia first. We must seek to help them. We must seek to assist them. We must seek to make them grow. That is how South Korea grew. That is how Singapore grew. That is how Ivory Coast is growing. That is why Togo is prosperous. That is how Tanzania has been able to turn the curve. That is how many other countries, even on the African continent, are strong. I think we need to have an honest conversation. And I like you, somebody like you, I think you need to pick the phone and call your guys and say, gentlemen, we need to. When was the last time we had a discussion with the business community in Liberia? A serious discussion, not on the basis of taxation, but ask them, how can we be of help? In the country you're in, when you start a new business, they give you all kinds of write-up. They give you 5 years, they give you 10 years, they give you this, they give you that. In Liberia, when you open a shop, the tax collector comes. why you're not paying taxes. They don't care what your issues
No
are. And
incentive.
in Liberia where you are, when it's tax filing period, you get money, Mr. Hassan. You should tell that to your colleagues. But in Liberia, even nobody here gets anything. If you even overpay, you own your own. We should have those kinds of conversations
Some kind of
because
incentive.
governance is about the lives of real people. We're not governing boxes. Thank
Yes.
you. And you're a very good man.
Yes.
Dr. Richardson, it was a pleasure. It's always nice to be on this platform.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Simeon Freeman. Freeman, we look forward to having you back again. Some themes of your comments today related to productivity, related to the human connectedness to Liberians. You know, you told me at the end of the day, we have one thing in common is the Liberian passport. We are all Liberian, no matter how you started. And I always hear your passion about Liberia when you speak. So thank you for being here today. You know, visitor to Spoon, you always here, and we look forward to having you again another time. Thank you for your interest in Liberia.
Thank you, madam. God bless. And I'll leave you now for you to entertain your next guest.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
So, Kev, we can talk as we transition on to our next guest. Is Conax that is coming in. They're oil and petroleum, Liberian-owned oil and petroleum company. So they're going to come in and
I think Mr. Freeman, uh, if the opposition black could, you know, come up with kind of debates like Mr. Freeman for us to have, let's debate the issues versus the what it coming from. You know, we will go somewhere as a nation. I disagree with some of the things, but at least Mr. Freeman brings something to the table that we can chew on, that
yes,
we
you're
can
right.
talk, that we can talk on it. We can have our differences, but it will still make sense.
No,
Then,
I agree.
then some of the debates that we're hearing, you know, that sometimes people just go into a certain way. We talk about Kigami, we talk about Tanzania, we talk about other
Mhm.
places. That these are the debates that we need to talk about, because
I agree.
when he come up with stuff like that, we you know, the Liberians only talk about the romantic side of issue. Oh, you see Ghana, but we're not talking about where Ghanaians used to come to Liberia and stay there because Ghana was going through hell. That Jerry Rollins have to do X, Y, Z. We have to educate our people, but we cannot just give this the half story. It's like I go to Dr. Richardson home. She live in a nice neighborhood, beautiful neighborhood, but I'm not telling the people how she burned the candle at night studying.
Yes.
I'm not telling the people the sacrifices that she did by making her Dr. Richardson.
Mhm.
All we want to tell people, oh no, I want to live in a nice neighborhood. She drive nice car. We're giving half story.
Yeah, but you know, I thought about that. You know, Liberia happens to be at a perfect place right now. You know, and your point is well taken, Kev. You know, I think this is how people who are thinking critically, people who want change, that's how you think. You look at the story in its entirety, the whole
Yeah,
package. And I think moving for Liberia, I think moving forward, we are at the place where we have the opportunity to take the good and bad and make our own, okay, to see how we can move forward in our country. Make something that is our own. It doesn't have to be a Ghanaian thing or American thing or, you know, a Sierra Leone thing. We are unique in our own ways. We can learn from these countries, like you said. Like we know there are some good and bad things about, you know, Paul Kagame, but let's take what is good for him and apply it to our country and be able to move forward. You know, and I like how sometimes people get mad at you and they say, "Oh, Kev is always applying the American system." Let me just tell you guys, Kev is a political junkie. If you guys don't know that now, this man listens to news around the clock, so he knows exactly what is going on, which is a good thing, you know. And you always, like you were talking about, you know, and he was talking about you know, the Speaker of the House, the pro tem, how they are coming from one region, which is true in Liberia's politics. But I think we need to be fair with ourselves. You know, we have an imperial government. We have an imperial president, a president who is heavy in terms of his power. That's no doubt about it. It didn't come with George Weah. It didn't come with anybody else. Okay, it's been a part of our history from time immemorial. So, for us to say that this president does not have any influences in the legislature will be lying. Let's just be fair and real to ourselves. He does. Unlike the United States, that have a system, a historical system of check and balances. All right. Nancy Pelosi is powerful, but there's some checks to her power too. You know, she has to make sure that she's in good book with the Democratic Party as
That's
well.
interesting. Let me give you one thing. You remember when the Senate, where there was kind of debating, who will actually the Supreme Court, where Obama nominated a Supreme Court judge, when the Senate at that time were the Republican, what they said in election time we will not we will not confirm no Supreme Court judge.
Oh yes, the Republicans did that.
Yes, they did that. They did.
Yes, they held with Obama appointees.
They had Obama appointees.
Yes.
But guess what? When it comes to
Trump, yeah,
election time, they went and confirmed Donald Trump.
Yes.
I want Liberians to understand this. If they're in Liberia, they will start screaming, we will fight, we will go on the streets. But they did that in America. What they did is they suppressed the nominee for Obama and said, we'll not do it. Their own law, they said they went against their own law when it comes to Trump. You know what I say? If you the party that had in the Congress in America, yeah, you get your way. They build back better. The Republicans say, "Oh, it's too much money." Matter of fact, they went against a lobby with a Democrat who is the senator in a Republican state, Joe Manchin. They held him under fire. They say, if you do that, we will do this.
But
politics
let's put it this way.
Understand that. Liberia need to understand that if I'm the president of Liberia, if I have an agenda and I want people in the lawmaker to pass my agenda, it's not wrong, it's not corruption, it's not bad. That's the way it is. Because you know why? You know why? We are a blueprint of the American government.
To some extent, we are. The difference is.
Understand that.
The difference is, Kev, in this country, the people have elevated to the place where they are looking for the best interest of the country. This is why
the Republican will never tell you that a Democrat are the best, so you know that.
Well, Kev, the one was good for us. The one was good for the at the end for the United States. What's good for the people of the United States.
But the Democrat doesn't believe that the Republican want good for America. The Republican doesn't believe that the Democrat. Let's say, for example,
but this is why, Kev. This is why when they pass law, they go in conferences. Yes, this is why they pass laws. In fact, right now,
I want you to speak on the pro-choice and pro-life. The Democrat believe that pro-choice is the way that America should go, and the Republican believe that pro-life is the way. There's a debate. What happened? What happened? What happened?
Yes, I mean, talk to now.
No, I want you to factor this in, you, Dr. Richardson. Please, I beg you. I want you to factor this thing. Roe v. Wade. You're a woman. Roe v. Wade.
Yes.
When they ask all Trump nominees, they say it's a settled law. But when they get there, after they confirm, when they get there, they overturn Roe v. Wade. And you know it's a woman choice.
But
I want you to speak on that.
So I want to say that the United States population goes through different transitions sometimes, depending on what's happening. And I think someone like Trump presidency brought in a lot of fear. There was a lot of rhetoric about racism, women power, religion, and all of those things. And I think it caused America to take a few steps backward because Roe v. Wade, since what, 50s, 60s was in effect. It was the law of the land. And so when Trump came into power, and this is why we have to be very careful for president personality. We have to be very careful for a president who have imperial power and a president who doesn't abide to some kind of check and balance system. Yeah, the Democrats, they like to play nice. We know that. You know that. You know, they like to follow the rules, the laws, but we know the Republicans, they like to be rogue. They don't follow the rules. Okay. But some reason, and they have indoctrinated the American population to say that, oh, the Republicans are good with the economy and the Democrats are good with social issues to some extent. So if you ask them today, who you think can give us more money for our taxes, decrease the interest rate, they will say Republicans. That's how the American people are thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. And then so they get away where they can buy the Americans and say, we'll make a better life for you. Is that necessarily true? I don't think so, you know. But well, in the background, people, if you listen to Kev and I, we are just waiting for you. James and Cola, we are just waiting for you.
Can you make me clear something out? You know, one of the things that people don't understand in Liberia, when you say and saying something, they don't get the baseline of the discussion. My baseline of the discussion, I'm reading some comment and say, oh, you kind of all over the place, you this, but the baseline that I'm saying that every election do have consequences, right? If I have the more people that as a president, right, that my agenda, because I believe my agenda is good for the country. If I'm a president, if I believe that the PAPD is good for the country, and I can have the speaker who champion my agenda, it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. Because if your government come there tomorrow, you will want the speaker, you will want the pro temp. That's not a bad thing. That's a way of government. That's the way of governance. That's the way it is.
You said something very, very profound that I like. You said, if I would champion the PAPD for my people, but we know what's on the PAPD written down and what is being practiced for the people of Liberia. There are two different things. And that is our issue, Kev. PAPD is a fine document. PAPD is supposed to uplift Liberia, is supposed to develop our country.
So you agree with us that the plan.
When I'm interrupting me, and you know what you're doing right now, you know exactly what you're doing right now. You know why you're interrupting me.
She agreed with us that the plan of Judge PAPD is a good thing.
Yeah. But when we have the PAPD, and then when we look at the top three people, the president, the pro tem, the speaker, the money that they are making, and we look at that, and they are incongruent. They don't make sense. Why will have a plan to uplift the people of Liberia? We want to build better schools. We want to create jobs. Okay, but then we have these people that are making so much money. We put so much money for them in the budget. It's not adding up, and this is what makes us upset. James, good day. If our people are ready, we're waiting for you.
I just sent you a text.
Oh, sorry.
I sent a text to you.
Oh, okay. No worries. Okay. I will send you. Our other guests will come on another day. They are not coming on today, so we had there was a mix up in their schedule.
But
so
10 to 6, we can open the line and
correct.
Let the people congratulate themselves. People congratulate you for you accepting that the PAPD is the best thing.
But can you see that? No, you see, Kev, you are just chastising. You are just
chastising. Is the best thing for us.
Kev, you see, you are just chastising us Liberians. You say we don't look at the whole picture. We like to paint flowery picture. We don't look at, the good and the bad side. Yes, I said two things. You only looking at one thing that I said, which is the PAPD is a good document. You didn't take into consideration the other things that I said about the PAPD, how it's been exercise, how it's been implemented. And that is the problem. I read the PAPD. It's a fine document. It looks like people spend some time thinking about it, you
Good
know.
day.
But how
Good
is it being
day.
implemented?
This woman, the ANC, is telling
April,
us that the president agenda is a good thing for Liberia.
is he implementing the agenda?
I will congratulate my sister on the show that
Get not a
telling us
people.
that George Weah agenda is the good thing for Liberia. You know why? Uh,
Not a spin.
Liberia need educated women like Dr. Richard said,
You know how
who
to
will speak
spin.
the truth. Who will speak the
You
truth?
know how to
And she
spin.
said
You
it
know how
twice.
to take one
Um,
thing
uh,
and
uh, but listen, James Fomoya, Nelson here, the audience here, and she's saying that the PAPD is a good thing for Liberia. You understand? And you know why? And you know why I'm stressing
it's
on
the
it, James?
PAPD been
And you know why I'm stressing on it,
out
James?
by the Liberian people.
Everybody who running right now, James, you cannot point to the Cummings agenda. I would want to ask you as a journalist, James and Nelson, if you guys have any Cummings agenda out there or Joe Buckeye agenda out there, besides George Weah, who do have agenda out there.
Yeah, let's stay with your man. I mean, one guy
Can
I want money
you
in here
guys
pocket
do
right
that?
now.
So what
Now,
she's saying, the only agenda out there
yes.
is the
Okay,
president's
Jim
agenda.
Kudo will answer your question. Is so Jim Kudo.
She
But
said
get Jim Kudo a
it's
chance
a
to answer now.
fine document. She said it's a fine document. And let me
He
tell you,
said
you can read.
Jim Kudo a chance to answer your
But
question.
when President Weah was in opposition, he had agenda.
Yes. Yes.
What was that agenda?
The PAPD.
No, I'm talking about when we had a CDC. The PAPD came about when we had both the
Collaborate.
NPP, CDC. What another party, right? I think LP.
I can tell you. I can tell you. I can tell you this. I can tell you this. I can tell you.
Yeah, LPDP.
I can tell you
Yeah.
this. I can tell you this. The
Kev, I
PAPD.
was in Liberia. Kev.
Yeah, no. You think, right? The PAPD, let's come on just like that. The PAPD will document now. You see, Tomlin, what Tomlin told you.
When was
Tomlin
it?
was 2000. Let's see what Tomlin said. This is a document that we believe in, that we part of. And Tomlin came from the CDC from 2004, 2005. You see how long that the CDC had that agenda? That's what Tomlin said on the show. What the UP and the ANC agenda?
They have arrest. You read about arrest? I think arrest, right? From Unity Party. Cummings, I'm forgetting about the acronym. Cummings to
Where can I find it? Where can I find Cummings?
What a website.
No, because they are not.
No, show me the website. You show me. I want to go right now to find Cummings. Let's do it. Let's do it.
We're not gonna make this show about Mr. Cummings. Let's talk about.
I want to. Can you show me the site?
No, you're not going to monopolize and dominate this show. You know very well how we do group therapy.
I want to go to the website and let's talk.
What is most important right now? The most important thing right now,
James, the bookman get website, James.
Kev, you see how we'll not let you do this. We'll not allow you to do this.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. Your leader.
Nelson, Kev want to turn this show into a comedy show, and he
No, I'm not turning it into a comedy show. I'm just saying, show me where I can find.
Let's see a chance to talk.
No, show me where can I find the Mr. Cummings agenda. If you show me, I will take my time. I
want everybody to see this show. When you see what job we are giving small power, you want job run over our country.
You're showing me where can I find Cummings agenda.
Go ahead, Nelson. Please talk. They don't want to give anybody any rights. They just want to dominate the whole country. Go ahead. We are showing behavior. Go ahead.
No, I think with respect to the question that Kev was asking, whether Mr. Cummings has an agenda like what we have with the PAPD from the CDC. I think due to the fall off some of what happened within the collaborating political parties, maybe the fact that they've gone their separate ways, maybe they're working on another document. But we saw something from that end called the the framework document. the framework document was an instrument we saw coming from that end. And the similarity to that of the PAPD is that the PAPD came from the CDC, the NPP, and that of the and that of the LPDP. And then similarly, we had something coming from the ANC, the LP, the Unity Party, which was the framework document at the time. So I think there's a little similarity there. Now that they've gone their separate ways, maybe the ANC of Mr. Kumis, maybe they have something coming up, but I think they have a document. That's what I thought.
Go ahead, James.
Listen,
Yeah,
Can we
I'm just
take
asking, show me where can I find it? That's all. Show me.
Kafiko,
Yeah, show me.
can we take calls and then maybe by 6 o'clock your time that will be
Yeah, I agree.
Nigerian
Yeah,
time
let's
to
do
end the
that.
show?
I
Kevin,
agree.
you score tonight, you win. We dodge you, you win.
You're
You win.
I didn't want to. I just want to keep myself busy so I can read this.
So
The
before
CEO coming, the CEO coming, Ben
I got a
coming,
funny story to tell.
Mariah coming, Tomole coming. Your equal friends then coming. You win.
I got a story to tell about that, right? So I have one of my Oma then came from Liberia to visit me, and she was used to, you know, the children in Liberia, how they get her. They say grandma had they go hug their grandma, but the children in America, they you know, they got work to do that I be going. So one day she came, she used to come help me with the children. She said, the other children, your boy America, that red dash them, that red dash them. That Liberia dash, that not the real American, the Liberia children. So every time I hear the word dash, it can just remind me because
So that's opening the line.
yeah, that opened the line.
Okay, so folks out there, you can call this evening and be a part of the show. 0777-107. Okay, so we have the lines activated, and I think we have calls here. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, go ahead. You're live.
Okay, yes. I'm Jerry Crudo that called from Pinzetown. Kev, you made a statement, and I agree with you when you said election got no consequences. In the sense that, look, the greatest mistake that this country has ever made to make Mr. We are president, and the consequence of making Mr. We are president, we are already feeling that. I met somebody today in a shop who went to buy bread. Bought his 2 bread. Today he shook his head and said, this country is damn hard. And that is the consequence of the 2017 elections by voting Mr. Weah to be president of this country. He left this country while civil servants have not taken pay for 2 months, and you're going to Qatar to wild football game.
Thank you.
That is the consequences of making somebody president. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. Please walk away from the radio. Maybe you just cut the radio off. Good evening.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, my brother. I'm Lawrence Kume.
Go ahead.
No, my brother. Let me tell you, what we passing through in Liberia, America is joining his 20,000 every month. So you don't know. Even the one you're talking about to live and enjoying all that's the we that here now, what we see. What a difference we see. I'm supposed we are. I'm going to show you why it is.
Okay.
But let's be friends. We are not seeing the teachers that the government, the CDC government said they were preaching. We are suffering. And then he said,
thank you.
We're suffering.
Thank you.
You over there, enjoy yourself. You said I'm good. You just talk.
Thank you. Good evening.
Nelson, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, let I call up with 1 minute. Dr. Richardson, I need to just get this thing because we are approaching election. There is no way I've been paid 20,000. 20,000 for 12 months. We're looking at 240,000 US dollar. If any government send me that money, it will be money laundering. I will be in trouble. It's impossible. You cannot. I cannot receive 20,000. That is a lie. It's a joke, and that's what the opposition do to you to mess with your brain. If the government send me 20,000 in America, that would be a money laundering. And the American, you cannot send. You go Western Union, you go places there, you receive money, they will hold you. It's not possible. It's not possible, guys, and it will never happen. So I want you guys to understand that. And every money that come to America, the American government, they have a system here. They monitor those money. So when people tell you that I get 20,000, they just lying to you. They want you to believe that $240,000 dollars a year. If I get that money, they will the end of the year when I'm filing taxes, they will want to know the source of income. If I don't produce a source of income, it will be a criminal case. It's impossible. You stop that. I just want to make that clear to you guys. It was fun back then. It's no more fun. I pay for my bills. I do this thing. Yeah, out of the conviction of my heart because I love my government. I don't take pay. Never taking pay. I'm not in the executive branch. I do this thing because I love my government and I love my president and I love Liberia. So please, guys, it's not true. Go online and check how this thing work. It's impossible. Go ahead, Nelson.
Thank you very much, Kev. Thanks. Good evening. Okay, we'll take this person. Hello. Good evening. Good evening.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. You're live.
I'm Joseph Kennedy calling from.
Go ahead.
Let me say thank you to Kev for your discussion. You know, Kev you don't need to respond to this frustration, failed politicians to call as their opposition because if that being is filled with
Please.
mind. So they will not understand
please
what
go
you are
ahead.
discussing. What is the government is doing? No opposition. So that man is more. Anything you discuss, when that man is more, you will not understand what you are saying. And I want to appreciate you here for discussing the working of this government. And don't need to respond to the guys that more, that man is more. They will not say what that man is coming more. And I want to appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank the people of this. What the government is doing in the Republic of Nigeria. I want to take you care. I want to do start there. So we're on the day to be this president is going to win and going to beat the one round again.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Hello.
Good evening.
How you doing?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Emmanuel Johnson, I call from Riha.
Okay.
You know, I can't blame Kev. If Kev were in Liberia and his family are in Liberia, they too going to you're not going to be seeing all the things going. But for what all Kev are doing to us here, because for what all they doing up there, they doing it to us. We marching them. We will march there and any attack in the country. Kev does not enter the country.
No. We're not going there. Good evening. Good evening. Hello.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Yeah, hello. This is Rico calling from Liberia.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, bro. So you see, there are people call for this country and say they die. The country is suffering. You suffering, you have money to pay your food, call, all cash in this country, what kind of politics can work? Start damaging your country in the Liberia. That are all the very good. They let us know cars where you are spreading your house now. Go into your houses for that rooms. The collective rooms. Nobody is running after anything again. Anything is running after you now to connect your houses, to connect houses to the electricity. People are taking place. Somebody light up a government taking for over two months. Why like that? Why should we be lying on our you're telling kids, you're telling 20,000, 20,000? Is it a rat?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Let me say good evening to my friend Ebero Cash. My name is Michael. Michael A. Sherry. And I'm for you for this to 14 this evening.
Mm-hmm.
And let me say thank you to Dr. Regency Ali for admitting the fact for tonight Ali telling the people about the purple agenda. And you, Ali thank God that today Dr. Regency admit to the public like the purple agenda, for prosperity ready, at least they are benefiting, the life, the people of Labrador. But do not mad people, serious people, today, all of them today, they'll be going out, carry that kind of false food, carry around like in the steroid. We cause that in the past. That were put in our propagating messages to the people, the false food, they will take it to be serious. Don't put on the solar patch with your hand for that say that and they had never do research to know if it was true.
Thank you.
Only today the city is saying is sowing, do your good work for God people. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Andrew. Now speaking from Florida.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you for the program, and I want to send a special message out to Dr. Richardson. So please deliver this message to the CEO from me. I'm the guy who told to go to the office with an iron in the leg. I'm slowly dying now, and I really need help. I really want you to ready to go to the hospital to get this iron.
Take his number, Blessing. Take his number, Blessing. Take his number. You talk to him behind the scene.
Okay. Sir. Hello. Hello.
Yeah,
you see it's
not
not on
we'll
today.
pass it to the CEO, okay?
Yeah,
pass
so
it to the CEO,
the CEO is not on tonight, so you will take your number. We'll take your number. Yeah, so the team asked me to take your number. But I think you have to. Okay, I think I see the number now.
All right, Dr. Regency, I think it's ready. Like 3 minutes to go. I think we can give the call like that.
Yes, okay, good. But I want to end our show on such a happy note. I want to announce that everyone please join me to send a happy birthday greeting out to Tomalin's daughter. Tomalin is a committed panelist to this program. His daughter, Tamalina, beautiful young girl. I've been seeing him post her picture all day today. Tamalina Queen George. Today is Tamalina's birthday. So in our comment section, just blow it up. Tell her happy birthday. Wish her well. We also, Kev will sing happy birthday. Good day. We'll sing a happy birthday. Nelson, we gotta sing happy birthday today to Tamalina. Tamalina, I hope you are listening. Your dad tell us that you're at the university in Northern Cyprus. We wish you very well. We'll sing our happy birthday song, and I have a video.
You totally agree for us to show that beautiful video.
I sent it to James. We'll play. We'll play.
Let's play that beautiful video.
Let's sing first. I want Tamalina to hear your voices.
Let me tell you, Good Day used to be in the choir before he left. He get a good job. So let Good Day start. But a good Christian. Good Day, go on.
Okay. Okay. Nelson, you start.
I should start.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday
to Tomalina. Happy birthday,
Tomalina.
Happy birthday.
Beautiful. Nice. Tomalina, you got kept to sing to you. Happy birthday.
The first person I ever lead and sing.
I know. There you go. Have a good birthday. James, do you want to play that video for Tomalina? Can we play it? I sent it to you.
James is muted.
You muted, James.
He's muted.
Okay, give you a few seconds. So
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you, baby. Happy birthday to you.
may God bless you.
Mama.
May
You're
God
gonna get one. Oh, Lord. May God bless you, baby girl. Happy birthday to you.
Yes.
Very
Thank
beautiful.
you. So please join us in the comment section. Make a post about Tomalina today. You know her dad sends out birthday wishes to everyone.
Yes, yes.
Yes, so he's very concerned and very thoughtful. So please return the favor. And
People
Tomalina,
ask who is she? That Tomlin daughter,
yes,
Melina. That Tomlin George
Tomalina.
daughter.
Tamalina.
Yeah.
Very pretty, as you saw, a very pretty young woman. We wish you success. We wish that you get all of what you do accomplish your endeavors. And thank you so much for just being a great daughter, as your dad says. All right, guys. I think we can wrap it up for the night. Tamali. Kev, what are you playing for the night?
I'm going to swallow some dumbbell, so
Hey, God,
that's
listen.
where I'm going right now. So, but we have a good show. Thank you, Dr. Richley, for holding it down. Wonderful show. I enjoy it. It's a pleasure to be on Spoon every day. Every day, it's a pleasure to be on this Spoon channel. People don't know that, but we love to be on Spoon. We argue, but we all are family on Spoon. No matter what we argue behind the scene, we all are family. So it's a pleasure for us to to bring the news to the people despite our disagreement.
Yes, thank you. Good day. God money you, huh? Let God continue to mind you. We'll see you tomorrow, yeah?
Yeah, God monument. Thank you too.
Nelson, take it easy.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Richardson.
Be safe. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right. All right then. Yeah, bye-bye.
Okay.
Show on from the CEO, stand coming with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the Southern Band. George James on the beat.
Well, folks, that's how I would like to close up on today's edition of the program Spoon Talk. Thanks to all of you out there for being a part of the show. Thanks to those of you who called in, those of you who have been watching, making your contributions in the comment section of the live stream, watching Super TV Channel 10. Thanks a lot. Maybe you've been listening by means of radio, Spoon 107.5 FM, Fabric 101.1 FM, Super 95.5. We want to say thanks a lot. The invitation is yours to join the station or those very mediums through which you've been following on tomorrow for 101 with the CEO. Until that time, have for yourselves a God bless day. I'm Nelson Colette and James. Bye-bye.
You want to know what is happening more of your